Good evening, everyone. I would like to call this meeting back to order. And so is there a motion to come out of executive session? We have a motion to come out of the executive session by Mr. Usherwood and a second by Mrs. Hoyes. All in favor? Motion passes. Is there a motion to approve personnel A, 1 through 11, B, 1 through 2, and C, 1 through 13? There's a motion to approve personnel by Ms. Hoyes. Second by Mr. Usherwood. All in favor? Motion passes. Well, welcome everyone to our regular called board meeting for Tuesday. We have some guests with us today that are going to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance. So at this time, I'm going to ask the Boy Scout troop of 415, I think it's out of Riverwatch Middle School, is that correct? So gentlemen, come up, introduce yourselves, and then we will stand and do the pledge. There you go.
My name is Ahan Suraj. We try to pledge allegiance. America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Very good job. At this time, we're also just going to do a moment of silence for reflection. All right, before we get to the recognition session, I do want to recognize a special guest. We have Mr. Usherwood's mother, Mrs. Usherwood, in the stands out here somewhere. If you could, please raise your hand. Thank you so much for coming, and we're so grateful that your son is part of our board. All right, we will go to the next agenda item, which is recognitions with Mr. Derek Hershey.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Derek Hershey. I'm glad to know Mr. Usherwood invited his mom to the board meeting after Mother's Day. That was very kind of you. That was great. Well, we're so excited for all of you to be here this evening. We've got quite the crew. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off by recognizing the 2025 GYSTC Don Cargill STEM Scholar Award, and here to present the award is Jenna Hinkle, STEM Program Manager. Would you like to come up?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jenna Hinkle, and I'm the STEM Program Manager for the Georgia Youth Science and Technology Centers, often GYSTC for short, headquartered at Kennesaw State University. GYSTC is a not-for-profit educational foundation founded in 1989 to increase interest and enthusiasm for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in elementary and middle school teachers, students, and parents, typically in underserved and rural areas. One of our co-founders, Mr. Don Cargill, envisioned a different kind of STEM student, one who would be conditioned to imagine, innovate, and create new jobs and industries in Georgia. The Don Cargill STEM Scholar Award recognizes teachers who are working hard to integrate effective STEM education into their classrooms. These teachers demonstrate a passion and determination to provide students with innovative and challenging STEM experiences and create an atmosphere of exploration that excites, energizes, and equips their students to pursue enhanced educational opportunities in STEM. On February 3rd, Mr. Colby Counter, an esteemed educator at Matt Elementary School, was one of 25 teachers honored at the Georgia State Capitol as a Don Cargill STEM Scholar by the Georgia Youth Science and Technology Centers. Mr. Counter received this prestigious recognition for outstanding integration of STEM instruction with a rocketry lesson which had a positive impact on students in all grade levels and abilities that he served. As part of this recognition, the Georgia Senate presented Senate Resolution 50, commending the awardees on their integrated and innovative teaching of STEM. In addition to the recognition, Mr. Counter was awarded $500 to support his classroom project, STEM Speedsters, where students will learn about Newton's laws of motion and other standards by building a Lego car and testing it on a modified Pinewood Derby track. Thank you, Mr. Counter, for all you do to impact Georgia's greatest resource, our students.
Say something real quick. The person that inspired me to do the rocket and track is also here tonight, Mr. Hopkins, and he was here for something else, so I thought that was pretty ironic. I just want to thank him for inspiring me.
Congratulations. And if you are family or friends, coworkers from Matt Elementary here to support Mr. Counter, please stand at this time so we can recognize you as well. Congratulations, Mr. Counter. Great job. At this time, we are going to recognize the GHSA Girls Wrestling State Champion, three-time state champion, with 97 wins and 0 career losses in 3 years. Artemis Eaton, come on forward. Coach Gerard is the coach. Come on forward, Coach Gerard, to be recognized as well. Congratulations. 97-0. That sounds pretty good. Great job. You guys want to go ahead and get a picture? All right, and if you are family or part of the Raider Nation that came to support Artemis, please stand so that we can recognize you. Great job. Also from North Forsyth High School, Class 6A State Swimming Championship in 2 events, both 50 and 100 freestyle. Owen Cooper, Jr., come on forward, and Coach Lennox Geiger. All right. Oh, I know Mom wants a picture. Mom's got to get her picture in there. All right, family, friends, and staff members to here to support Owen, please stand so that we can recognize you. Well, here's a trend here from North Forsyth High School. The Class 5A and 6A Gymnastics State Champions. Come on down. And both head coach Radicke and Crittenden, please come down as well. Great job. Great. I think they know what they're doing, Dr. Dugan. Great job. I have this feeling that all the moms are over this direction. I just have a hunch. All right, so family, friends, it looks like you guys are standing. Anybody else here to support our Lady Raider gymnastics team? Let's give them a big round.
Great job, guys. Congratulations.
All right, and at this time, I believe that Miss Dr. Brittany Cantrell is going to come and talk about some science and engineering award winners. And she's got energy, everybody, so be ready. Here we go.
Don't worry, I got a coffee hidden over there. All right. Hi, thank you so much, guys. We have lots of fun things to celebrate tonight. We do have a handful of kids who are, for various reasons, most of them that started with, Dr. C, I have to study for AP exams. So we got a few people we're going to recognize who are not going to be here this evening. But it's my pleasure to begin tonight by recognizing this exceptional group of students. We've got some high schoolers and some middle schoolers who are doing all kinds of amazing things in the world of science. They're creative, deeply committed to solving real world problems, and it's truly a pleasure to watch them do their work. So we're going to begin with Daniel Lee, who isn't able to join us in person tonight, but he stood out on the national stage and was named a 2025 Inspiration Award recipient at the National STEM Festival in Washington, D.C. His innovative project focused on reducing food waste and creating cost-effective irrigation technology to support low-income farmers. And out of projects from across the country, only 7 received this distinction. So National STEM Festival, co-hosted by the U.S. Department of Education, celebrated students with solution-driven answers to global challenges. Next, we get to move to the world of the Georgia Science and Engineering Fair. So you're going to see representatives from our junior and senior division right over here. And so when we're looking at our Science and Engineering Fair, this means that they have to make it through school and district level competitions to move on to a regional competition and then be invited to go on to state. So these folks have made it through the ringer at this point in lots of levels. And so in April, they were able to go and represent Forsyth County Schools. We're going to start with the senior division. At the high school level, these folks can earn an invitation to an international science and engineering fair. And so it is very prestigious. You can win the entire science fair and still not get an invitation to ISIF. So it is absolutely my pleasure to introduce this first young lady who was going to join us virtually, but unfortunately found out at the very last minute that she has a mandatory meeting. She is actually at the International Science and Engineering Fair right now. So Pragathi Kasana Akula is recognized for her work in nanoarchitectures for the identification of exosomes in TNBC. It's stuff dealing with breast cancer. I definitely had to ask her. But she got a GSIF Top 10 award. She also got the Pinnacle Award, which means that she won first place out of the entire senior division of the science fair in the state. She got best in category for physical sciences, specifically in chemistry, and she is an ISIF finalist. So we should all send her all the good wishes as she is out there competing at on the international stage for Forsyth County, which is really exciting. So additional senior division GSIF winners include Arav Kathari, Dia Raj, and Palak Verma. They did a project on multimodal frameworks for non-invasive celiac disease diagnosis. They also got a GSIF Top 10 award and best in category for medicine and health, specifically translational medical sciences. They are. Yes, incredibly impressive young people who are going to do great things to change our world. Mernal Kulkarni is with us for novel graphene ink sensors for monitoring sleepwalking patients. And so he also received a special award from the Georgia Intellectual Property Alliance Young Inventors at GSIF. And then we have Sean Lee, who assured me that he is studying for 2 AP exams right now, with a project on Cas-D9, so evolution of genetic and synthetic biology. But he earned a Society for In Vitro Biology Student Award at GSIF. So very impressive young people. And then we're going to move on to our middle school category, which you high schoolers are very impressive. But these middle schoolers, wow, the science that they are doing is pretty incredible. Yep. Oh, one high school first? Got it. Does that mean I'm coming? Okay, gotcha. Guys, I'm just here following instructions.
Mom and Dad can have first. That's okay. Y'all worked hard. All right. And right here for me. 1, 2, 3. Here you go. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Okay, next round. In our junior division, so here's something really exciting. Regeneron Society for Science does an international science fair, but it's high school only. So in recognizing that it's, maybe not the best idea to curb the STEM pipeline at the middle school level, for the first time in 2023, they created a national science fair for middle school students. 300 teams from across the nation are invited to compete. Each state gets a quota. Georgia was given 17 this year. We have 4 teams that will be representing Forsyth County. So I could not be prouder there. It's really incredible. So Arjun Ananda, with his project on cytognosis, was a Thermo Fisher Junior Innovators Challenge nominee. So he will represent us at a national science fair, which is as high as you can go in the junior division. And he also got a best in category for biomedical engineering. Yes. So we have Avery Lohman, Kelly Liu, and Kavya Georgiaraju. They worked in a project under fire and also received a Thermo Fisher Junior Innovators Challenge nominee. So they will also be representing us on the national stage. All right. Salone Guy, Anushka Venkatas, and Maya Davis. Their project on Immunotel, AI domain matchmaking, which they would have to explain to us at a different time. They got a best in category in systems software. Olivia Molesworth, No Longer Lost in the Middle, How LLMs Handle Long Context Work. So best in category for robotics and intelligent machines. All right. Shambhavi Sankar, Sanvi Maramanda, and Anushka Nair for biodegradable versus polythene. They are also Thermo Fisher Junior Innovator Challenge nominees, so going to the the national level for us. And finally, last but not least, Sanika Karanar and Saranya Bandaru and Saruni Pulajala for their project on Segrabin, Revolutionizing Waste Management, also going to be joining us at the national level, and a best in category for environmental engineering. Just want to say a quick thank you to the board for letting us recognize these incredible young scientists who represent us so well, and the teacher mentors who supported them. Are there any science folks here that we missed? Okay. Thank you.
Right here. Second 1, 2, 3. Good job. All right. Big round of applause.
And if you are a parent, staff member, anybody here to support these amazing students, please stand so that we can recognize you. Great job. I'm not going to lie, I was sitting over here listening and trying to figure out what it was that Dr. Cantrell was saying, and a lot of you, I kept seeing the same look. Yeah, we did really good. You did a great job. Congratulations, students. Excellent. At this time, we are going to switch over to West Forsyth High School's esports team. Come on up, gentlemen, and coach. The esports team won their very first ever state championship in the Rocket League, and I get an air high five because I know I missed you. Sorry about that. Gabriel Beck, team captain. Kylev, Brady Burke, and Coach Carl Lyles. Great job, guys. Coach Lyles was talking to me earlier about coaching esports, and he was talking about the X's and O's of esports, and I didn't quite understand that, but I think he's got it figured out down there. Great job.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Great job, gentlemen and coach. And if you are here from West Forsyth High School, friends, family, here to support these amazing gentlemen and coach, please stand and give them a big recognition. All right, now we get to introduce the Employee of the Month for May from our Transportation Department, who's sponsored by Jim and Nick's Barbecue, Northside Hospital, Community Cup, Cumming Family, Chiropractor, Freedom Mill, State Farm, MDSI, and Peach Skin Sheets. And we are excited to honor and recognize Marcia Turner. Marcia, come on forward. Marcia, you get to stand next to me while I read some amazing comments about you. Can you do so? Yes. All right. So Marcia was nominated by a lot of people, and this is what they said about Ms. Turner. She is simply amazing, always positive, professional, and supportive in all she does. She's a great team leader. It's my pleasure to work with her and all the others in District 30. Marcia leads by listening, responding, and getting things done and done right on time. She is the right-hand man for our district supervisor. Marcia can do it all. Marcia leads with intentionality and consistently reinforces adherence to SOAR principles with her drivers. She always has a smile on her face, even now. Whether coaching or correcting subordinate performance, the most commonly heard words out of her mouth are, "You are awesome." And I'm going to end on that right there. You are awesome. Congratulations. And you get a nice little goodie bag. All right, do we have any family, friends, or the transportation department here to support Marshall? Please stand up. Okay, and at this time, we are ready for the Superior Spotlight. And I am pleased to announce from Liberty Middle School Principal Dawn Hudson. Welcome. We can give her a hand, can't we?
All right. Well, good evening, members of the board, district leadership, and community guests. My name is Dawn Hudson, principal at Liberty Middle School, and it is my honor to begin our presentation by reflecting on a powerful piece of our school's identity, one rooted in resilience, remembrance, and unity, and one that we are also extremely proud of and honored to share with you tonight. Liberty Middle School opened its doors in 2002 in the wake of one of the most defining moments in our nation's history, September 11th, 2001. Our name, the Liberty Patriots, was chosen with intention and pride, symbolizing the strength of the American spirit and our commitment to honoring those lost and the heroes who rose in the face of tragedy. From the very beginning, Liberty has made it a priority to ensure that we never forget. Each year, we host a heartfelt 9/11 remembrance ceremony welcoming district office personnel, first responders, families, and community members to join us in reflection. The ceremonies have featured keynote speakers who have experienced the events firsthand or who were deeply connected to them. But perhaps the most powerful moment came when one of our very own teachers, a member of Liberty's first sixth grade class, stood before our students and staff to share how growing up at Liberty, shaped by the legacy of 9/11, inspired her journey. Tonight, she is with us again, along with others, both students and teachers, who have helped shape this wonderful legacy and carry this tradition forward. Liberty's story is more than just a timeline. It is a testament of how our schools can be places of healing, honor, and purpose. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share the legacy with you tonight. And now I turn it over to teachers Mr. and Mrs. Kumo.
One of the reasons the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony is so important is that our students weren't alive at that time, and some of our younger staff members were very young at the time, and so they weren't following it on the TV news like so many of us were and seeing the events unfold. And so for them to see the images and to hear the timeline is really impactful for them, and it's important for them to know the history of the day so that they know the heroism of the first responders, so they know about the lives lost and about the survivors and about the unity of America as they came together at that time. It's a really important message for them to know in the history of our country at that time. And we have a different theme each year. One year it was remembering and honoring our first responders. One year our theme was never forget. And this past year our theme was unity, which was a really important message for our students.
And way back when we were brainstorming the whole program, Evelyn and I thought, how do you connect with 1,000+ students in a gymnasium? And obviously visuals and music were important. And so a student-produced slideshow that we projected on the walls or big screens, along with some rock music or music that can engage the crowd, was kind of produced. And then it morphed into how do we even further engage the students by not bringing students to actually do the music, become a rock band, and perform for their own peers with the slideshow going. And so it kept on morphing into more and more, and a few teachers joined the rock band, and it now is a program that totally connects and shows how we are all connected to this event in some way, shape, or form.
So now, along with the slideshow and the student rock band, the Fine Arts Department all works together to make it the program every year. So the chorus, Miss Kinney's chorus students sing a couple of numbers, and Mr. Collins always has a trumpet player play taps. And the drama students participate in a variety of ways depending on the theme of the year. One year they did creative movement. They have narrated the slideshow timeline of events in past years. This past year, when unity was our theme, I had drama students sitting amongst the student body, and then one at a time they would stand up and speak actual firsthand, like words from people from New York who were there at the time, and that had a real impact on the student body as they heard those words. The visual arts has become just a beautiful part of the ceremony in the past years. Miss Kennel has got a piece of art. Would you want to go ahead and show it now? Natalie Basila is a student, and she was not able to be here tonight, but her artwork is. This gorgeous piece of art was created by one of Liberty's students. Is it called Unity in Crisis? Is that right? Yes. Unity in Crisis was created by one of our students, but also students create invitations and programs for the day. So all of our fine arts departments pull together to make this just a gorgeous and really important event. One of our drama students is here tonight. Connor Hopkins is an 8th grade drama student, and so we've asked him to come and say a few words about how this, the 9/11 ceremony is important to him. So let me introduce Connor to you.
Hello, I'm Connor Hopkins, and I'm an 8th grader here at Liberty, and this year I partook in the 9/11 ceremony and just deeply impacted my life because it taught me this was just sad and just heartfelt day. And for me, one of the most important reasons why we do this is because, like Ms. Kumo said, none of the 8th graders, 6th or 7th graders were alive during the attacks. So it shows us how it's nothing to joke about. It's a serious and heartfelt day that we need to be serious about. For me, it's kind of silly, but for me, I liked the moment of silence because the whole school went silent and just gave everyone a chance to think that this is a real day, real people died, and it's nothing to joke about. My parents just moved into an apartment right after the attacks, and they said the whole country came together and united, which how America works. And their neighbors were Muslim, and they said they didn't leave their house because they were just nervous of what people were going to say to them, just bring them down. But that's not how America works. We don't bring people down because of their race or our gender or our beliefs. And that's why I think Liberty, I think it's a good idea why we have our 9/11 ceremony each and every year.
This is an image of our student rock band, just for you to see an example. Thank you, Connor. And this is a short video showing the slideshow and also the drama students.
September 11th, 2001 is a day that each and every adult in this room can recall as if it happened yesterday. I'm sure we can each tell you exactly where we were, what we were doing, what we were thinking, and what we were feeling. I was a 5th grader at Cole Mountain Elementary in Mrs. Nix's ELA class. She received a phone call, began to cry, and turned on the TV that was in the top corner of the classroom. As a class, we sat and watched as the news stations replayed the recordings of the devastating events over and over again. A community came together and poured 3 gifts into Liberty Middle that make it so special. Those gifts are faith, hope, and love. The first administration and teachers that filled Liberty had faith in the difference they were making. They had hope in the futures of the patriots that they were teaching. And as a former Liberty student, I can personally attest and tell you that love has always been the most abundant gift to fill the halls of Liberty Middle School. A community came together and wanted to remember the patriots that were lost on September 11th, 2001. Liberty Middle was not supposed to be named Liberty Middle. The mascot was not supposed to be the Patriots. Liberty was built during a time of solidarity and unity amongst every American in our nation. Liberty's name, colors, and mascots are just the beginning of our tradition to never forget. There are symbols of remembrance everywhere around you as you walk the grounds of Liberty Middle School. Our oak tree that stands out in the front of the school has always had a ribbon on it. It was planted when the school first opened. It symbolizes the strength of a nation that stood united during a time of tragedy and grief. The 4 stars on our gym floor represent the 4 planes with innocent lives that never made it to their intended destination on 9/11. The locker number 911 that is located down the 8th grade hall has never been issued to a student. Instead, it is a time capsule of remembrance, containing multiple items from throughout Liberty's years of legacy. There are also letters from each student that attended Liberty the first year that it opened. I was one of those students. I remember writing my letter in Mrs. Mitchell's sixth grade homeroom class and getting to watch as they closed the 9/11 capsule and thinking how amazing it would be to get to be there when that time capsule is opened 25 years later. Every Patriot that attends Liberty Middle School has now become a part of the legacy to never forget. Each student places a flag out front to represent a life that was lost on September 11th, 2001 during our flag ceremony. Each flag represents a mother, father, sister, brother, grandmother, grandfather, aunt, uncle, and cousin that never made it back home. They represent the firefighters and paramedics and police officers who ran into the unknown to try and save as many souls as they could. They represent the individuals who sacrificed their lives to save coworkers, friends, and people they didn't even know. Each flag represents a patriot. We are all patriots. I cannot tell you where we will be in the next 23 years, but here is what I can tell you. I have faith that Liberty Middle School will still be here protecting and educating our future patriots. I have hope that the patriots we continue to have walk our halls will go out and make a difference in our community and our world. And that love, I can promise you, will always continue to be the most abundant gift to fill the halls of Liberty Middle. I was, I am, and I always will be proud to be a Liberty Patriot.
Thank you for letting us share our story tonight for the Superior Spotlight.
Thank you for sharing. Any statements or questions from the board? I think it's just a great honor that you guys are continuing to do this every year, so thank you for that. I think the beginning of our meetings, we just love the recognitions. It's our favorite part. The next part, not so much. It's boring. So we're going to allow a recess, so if anybody wants to get up to leave, you can leave at this time.
And I just want to recognize Mr. Carnaroli on his last board meeting with us.
Why don't you tell us that?
Thank you.
Listen. Yeah, perfect.
All of a sudden started
Oh,
getting
thank you very much. Will you shut that door?
That whole thing, like the topic and the person is totally turned. Me too. That's why.
All right, we're going to continue with our agenda. The next item on our agenda is the public participation on agenda items. I do believe we have no one signed up, correct?
Correct.
All right, so next we will go to the consent agenda. We've all had the opportunity to review the consent agenda. Are there any questions on the consent agenda?
Yes, actually had one question. When we have contracts for services, how long are those contracts and like what is our,
Yes, please.
Yeah, come on down.
yeah, sorry.
Mr. Matt Wark.
Sometimes it could be Mr. Wark, sometimes it could be Mr. Hamill.
Yeah. I was just
Can you turn on the
looking-
mic, please?
Just looking at the consent agenda, items that are contract services, like for example, pest control. How often do we get new bids for those type of things? Do we open it up to the public? Or does the department seek out bids for that? And
Good
how
question.
frequently?
Yeah, all of our contract services are year-to-year contracts. We don't sign multi-year contracts. However, we do award up to a 5-year renewal. So we review them every year, but we have the right to renew the contract for another year. At the end of 5 years, so we can only do that 5 times, at the end of 5 years, the state requires us to put out an RFP for the entire scope of services. Now, a lot of times contractors come back, they have to go through the RFP process. And we like that because if we don't like a contractor, they're not serving us well, we're not in a multi-year contract. So they are reviewed yearly, but we do have up to a 5-year renewal. Does that answer your question? And then we're required to put it back out. Good?
Yeah, thanks.
Perfect. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve consent agenda.
There's a motion by Ms. Hoyes. Second by Mr. Grimes. All in favor? Motion passes. All right, the other item on our agenda is going to be our presentation and discussion items. First, with Mr. Larry Hamill, is going to be our 26 budget timeline.
Oops, slideshow at the top, there you go.
Good evening. Tonight, we're going to talk about the fiscal year 26 budget process and timeline. So right now, we have the budget presentation draft ready to go for May 27th at a 6 p.m. meeting. We're going to have our first budget hearing on the 29th, and those ads are going out in the paper this weekend, actually, for that date. And then we'll have our second budget hearing for June 12th. The June 12th and the June 19th millage 1, 2, and 3 meetings are basically on the calendar, but we are still waiting for information from the chief appraiser's office, and we're kind of at their mercy that if they don't get it to us in time, we may have to cancel the June 12th and then change that date to a different date, but we're waiting to see what we get from them. Right now, the problem is they're still waiting for the software to be updated, and they give them a June 1st deadline. So if they get it done June 1st and something to us in time, we can get that published in the paper 7 days before June 12th. If not, then we'll have to figure something out.
Yeah, and the challenge with that we ran into last year is, by law, you have to have it advertised 7 days in advance, but you also then have to have it submitted to the paper in time for them to get the ad space for us. And sometimes the information comes to us before we can get an ad in time to meet the 7-day requirement. So we're going to just have to commit to being flexible when it comes to the millage hearings, because we're really at as Larry said, we're at the mercy of the county tax assessor. Yeah, and obviously with this year, there's been some new exemptions put in with our House Bill 717. The county has 581 to contend with, so they've got some software and spreadsheets and things to figure out before they can get us a hard number.
Correct. That June 1st deadline is the deadline that they've given us, that the software companies talked to the county chief appraiser's office. And then on June 19th, with everything going correctly, after the last millage rating, we will have a called meeting to approve both the budget, the final budget as presented, and then the millage rate that goes with the budget. Any questions?
So this is our best-case scenario timeline. Reality is this could tick up towards the end of June or even early July.
Worst case scenario.
Yep.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. The next item on our list is going to be the distracted learning with Dr. Amy Bartlett.
And while Amy comes up here, I just want to remind folks that are watching and remind the board that, you know, Amy's done a phenomenal job as the point person with this, the chief communicator on this. But this has been, as you see, an incredible team effort, both from our cabinet, but also when it came to spearheading the four leaders you see before tonight. So when the arrows come in, don't just aim for Amy. Aim for all four of these folks.
No, aim for me.
Thank you, Dr. Young. So tonight we are pleased to present the proposed distraction-free education policy here in Forsyth County Schools. And this has really been the result of extensive research, of thorough collaboration, as you've seen over the past several months, and really meaningful engagement across our district. So several months ago at, the beginning, I would say, of the second quarter maybe, we looked into what this could look like in Forsyth County Schools. We worked with the people here tonight, so Mike Evans, our Chief Technology and Information Officer, Todd Shirley, our Chief of Student Support, and really spearheaded by Dr. Amy Bartlett, our Associate Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, to dig into what this policy could look like. And so we've worked with our students, our staff, our teachers, our stakeholders to ensure that this policy not only reflects the current realities for our students, but also aligns with our strategic goal areas, really engaging our students for academic success, but also protecting their social and emotional health. And so we'll give an overview of that process along with the proposed policy here for your review tonight.
Okay, wonderful. Well, as Dr. Dugan shared, this initiative really relates to two key areas of our strategic plan. And I know our entire board, along with many of our community, were at our town hall where we talked about the pressing need being really grounded in these two areas. First of all, the learner experience. We recognize that devices right now, electronic devices, are causing distractions in our learning environment, as our students at all levels are preoccupied with their devices. So we really do believe that this policy will help address this issue and really enhance the learner experience for all students in Forsyth County. The second area, in terms of the pressing need, relates to social and emotional health and well-being. And really, this one is a driver in our work. We know that limiting electronic devices has been proven to truly reduce stress, anxiety, and distractions while enhancing our students' focus, engagement, and overall well-being. So these are the points of the pressing need, and we really went in depth with that in our town hall to talk about the research and everything behind the drivers for this policy. Additionally, we've made very concerted efforts to elicit stakeholder feedback throughout the course of this year from all of our stakeholders. This year began with Dr. Young attending local school council meetings at all 43 of our schools, meeting with our community, our parents, our teachers, and our administrators. Also, subsequently, we've had advisory meetings throughout the year, teacher advisory, student advisory, and parent and community advisory. And this topic has been at the forefront of conversations with all of these stakeholder groups to elicit their feedback and input into this policy. Mr. Young also held focus groups with students during the second semester, meeting with students at the 5th grade, 8th grade, and 11th grade level, targeting all 43 of our schools. And additionally, we put out a stakeholder survey to all of our parents in the county, specifically asking for their thoughts, their ideas, and their opinions, so we could use that and compile that as we were charged with developing this policy. Most recently, we held our Disconnect to Reconnect town hall, which was very well attended. And out of all of these pieces of stakeholder feedback, we really, came to the point of having a lot of great input. You can see here our survey generated over 3,800 responses. We heard a resounding support for the restriction and limiting of cell phone usage during the academic school day. That was prevalent from all stakeholder groups. When we look overall at the surveys and the feedback that came in, there were some questions and some comments addressing how parents may be able to still have contact with their students during the school day. And we came back to our school board after our town hall and heard from you. We want to really go with a balanced approach and take in all of this feedback as we generate a policy for consideration for our school district. So as we move forward this evening to our recommendation, we also want to point out that our policy was written, it is aligned, it goes above and beyond House Bill 340, but it certainly is aligned to those core requirements, which you can see outlined here. This was most recently passed in our Georgia legislative session this year, which will enact a Distraction-Free Education Act, requiring all local school systems to enact policies and procedures for electronic devices kindergarten through 8th grade. So for us at Forsyth County, we wanted to talk about this piece, but also expanding and what that would look like through our 12th grade, through all of our high schools as well. But know that these guidelines and guidance that we've received from our legislation was also taken into consideration as we formulated our own policy for our school system. So with that, we're going to present to you this evening our proposed distraction-free education policy for Forsyth County Schools. I want to reiterate the purpose here is to create environments free from the distraction of cell phones and personal electronic devices. We're committed to ensuring our students are provided with every opportunity to focus on their learning and engage in positive interactions to support their well-being. I want to note here that while House Bill 340 has been passed in this recent session, GSBA has not yet put forth a policy code. Typically, there's a policy code that will associate with legislation. That code has not come out quite yet because of the recency of the legislation being passed. So as we present this policy tonight, we've been in touch with them for their recommendation, and we're recommended to address this with our policy JCDAF, which is our appropriate use policy. And that's what we're recommending, that this policy goes into right now because GSBA hasn't initiated another policy for us to use at this time. So we're recommending that this policy here, committed to distraction-free education, goes into place. You see here the recommendation, the guidelines are different for elementary and middle schools and then our high schools. So we are recommending in our policy that at elementary and middle school, all cell phones and personal electronic devices would be turned off and stored away during the duration of the bell-to-bell school day. So at the elementary and middle school level, off and away, not out at all during the entire academic day for the bell-to-bell period. You'll note in item 2 that these restrictions do not apply to the buses, bus stops, or before and after school events, but bell-to-bell at the elementary and middle school level, that they would need to be off and put away out of sight. In section B, you'll notice a little bit of a differential for high school, and we did take a lot of our feedback into consideration, as well as the progressive nature of high schoolers getting ready to then their next step be college, and know there is a space and time for cell phone usage. So the recommendation here is that cell phones and personal electronic devices are turned off and stored away during the bell-to-bell school day. However, students may access their phones and personal devices during their lunch assigned period only. And I will say here that we did benchmark with some neighboring systems who have put this specific policy in place just at the high school level, to say that at the lunchtime, we heard loud and clearly from some of our students too, with different events happening throughout the day, and having one point at least during the day to check those messages and have that communication and teach them how to responsibly use that, but still preserve the fact that during our academic time, that those are not impeding anything with instruction. So that is the differential in our proposed policy for high school. Again, the restrictions here do not apply to the buses, bus stop, or before and after school periods. The additional elements for the proposed policy with expectations are that our students would comply with the directives to avoid disrupting the environment, or there may be subject to disciplinary actions in compliance with our code of conduct. Also, when the devices are allowed, we want to ensure our students are respecting privacy of others. And we were very specific here that any photos or videos without prior approval is strictly prohibited on our school property, which is inclusive of school buses or in school-related activities. And notably here in Section C, we want to ensure that our employees of Forsyth County Schools will be modeling the responsible use of cell phones and personal electronic devices. That's something we feel very strongly about. If we're expecting our students to do that, we need to be modeling that from the level of our employees as well. In Section 4, you'll notice that we have a reference for students with disabilities or in need of other accommodations. So there is a provision there if there are students with plans that explicitly mandate the use of a device for medical or educational purposes that are noted in a plan, that we would honor that with their respective plan if it was outlined there. And finally, Section 5 with notifications. We want to ensure that our parents, guardians, and students know that there are policies and procedures associated with how this policy is going to work. And that would take many forms that will work with Dr. Dugan's department with communication, staff handbooks, student handbooks, our website, very clear communication about what the policies are. Notably, this is what the policy recommendation is, but pending approval, this policy would sit for 30 days where our public will continue to have an opportunity to provide feedback. So there'll be an open opportunity for any feedback to come in from our community for the next 30 days related to this proposed policy. If and when that is moved forward, we would then subsequently need to develop additional things to have procedures and resources, including updating our board regulation where more specific guidance would be given to the policy, our staff handbook, our code of conduct, and our family engagement guide and student handbook. All of those corresponding pieces would have to be aligned with that new board policy. So this is what we'd like to put forth to you for your consideration this evening, for this policy to sit for the next 30 days while we gather and gain more of our community feedback. So I welcome your comments, your questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to chime in here real quick, obviously, pending approval, this policy goes through, but I don't want to just kind of quickly go by the regulation piece and the code of conduct piece. I think several years ago, we dealt with a rising crisis of vaping. And at the beginning, we're kind of stabbing in the dark from school to school, and it was a little inconsistent from school to school. And that's when at the district level, Mr. Shirley and his department stepped in, worked with our principals and assistant principals, and developed an approach to that has been very consistent across the board. I've instructed Mr. Shirley and our team to treat this very much the same that we did with vaping. We give a lot of autonomy, and there's a lot of it, 43 schools, how you treat different situations. This is not one of those. But this is one of those that this is new. We're talking about changing a way culture has been done here for a long time, and inconsistency will not help us achieve the goals set forth with this. So I want to make that really clear. We're going to be meeting with principals tomorrow and telling them that should this pass as written, that this is a non-negotiable. And particularly the part that you talked about with the teachers, I will just say publicly, that teachers are going to be the key to this happening. And if teachers are not in compliance with this, then there's going to be ramifications for that as well. And I'm not saying that in a threatening manner to any teachers. It is a hard job that they've got from day to day. And we're not trying to turn them into cell phone police. But within the four walls of a classroom, teachers have a lot of control of what goes on in those four walls. And we need them to be on board, and we need them modeling. And quite frankly, you can't monitor student behavior in a cafeteria or a playground or in a classroom if you as a teacher are scrolling through your phone. And that is going to be something that we're going to address as well to make sure that is maintained consistently. Cherokee County, I don't want to call them out, but that's one of the neighboring counties. They actually rolled this out ahead of us. The first month of school, they saw a lot of kids in the cafeteria accessing phones because the kids felt like they might be missing something from their normal classroom text and posting. All my contacts there say that after about the third or fourth week of school, the usage during lunch period went dramatically down, and kids were talking to each other and hanging out. And again, I don't want to say too much about their data and speak on their behalf, but at this point, they've seen a drop in discipline related to cell phones and bullying, and that sort of thing go down significantly. All right, I'm talking in not just low numbers, but 20, 30% is what they shared. So I know there will be, if we go with this, there will be a time period where it's adjustment for our teachers and our students. But I think what the staff has presented you tonight captures the spirit of what we're going through, maybe not as hard and is in line with the exact research as we would like to see. But I think the reality of having to enforce what our principals and APs and teachers are going to have to enforce meets at a middle of the road that where enforcement can take place. But I'll stop there.
So this policy is going to sit out there for 30 days, correct?
Correct.
And the community has an opportunity to provide feedback. How do they do that?
That is a great question. So if I may, Ms. Mayo does, Ms. Dr. Dugan?
Yes, so we'll have an opportunity. The way policy sits right now is people who want to comment on policy can go to Assembly, they can comment on the policy. It's also shared on our website as a news item, so there's easier access. Regarding what Dr. Bartlett mentioned earlier, tying it to a policy, it might look a little bit different because that code doesn't exist yet, but people will still be able to give feedback via our website and Assembly.
Okay. Is there going to be communication out to the community?
Would this be a situation where a messenger would go out that would have the policy in it and then a link to the feedback area? Is that something that could be put together?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you so much for all of your hard work. I know you all spent a lot of time digging into research and putting this together. It's something I'm really passionate about. And just, on the expectation slide, C, of course, is something, thank you for highlighting that, Dr. Young. That's really important, that the employees are modeling behavior, but also to the community, parents have to model the same behavior of responsible use, because otherwise we can't succeed as a community as we go down this path of responsible device use. It has to be all of us working together, so.
I'll just say thank you also for all of the research and work. I know that it's been a work in the making. It's no secret that I've leaned more towards a full ban, but in talking to a lot of people, I am understanding the difficult manner of having something like that and enforcing it and making sure we are not biting off more than we can chew as a district, that we're able to, give some strict guardrails, which we don't have in place right now. So I'm really excited to see that we're at least rolling this out and we're moving forward and we're going to be ahead of the game. And I appreciate you talking about the autonomy piece. I think that at the end of the day, whether we did a full ban or this restriction, the enforcement piece is the most critical component in making this successful. So reining in some of that autonomy on the consequences and giving them the administrators' guidelines, I think is going to be really critical.
And I'll just say thank you. I agree that I think having consistency across the schools is going to be extremely important so that our schools stay on the same page. And we don't have a change from, one part of the county to another. So I think the consistency, I think is going to be probably the biggest key to this. So I appreciate y'all addressing that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Evans, don't go far. You're next with Chromebook update.
And as Mike comes up, I'm going to chime in again because I spoke again to colleagues that have put that policy in place or some variation of it. And one of the things that they said would have been extremely helpful when you take phones away in a world where a lot of research is being done in classrooms on devices. And when you look at our background over the last almost 20 years, we've been touted as a BYOT school system. If you vote that policy or a variation of it in place in June, we're basically announcing the end of the BYOT experiment, which has been a 20-year-long experiment. It was never intended for a phone, but that's what it went to. We've had inconsistencies in enforcement through the years because we're telling kids BYOT, but then we're also telling them you can't have a phone out in class, and it's been a very mixed message. So the colleagues of mine that I've talked to are like, that if they just had been able to have a device that the school provided and replace the phone that the kid brought, would have made them really take off. And without further ado, I'm going to segue that into Mr. Evans.
Thank you for that. That was a great transition. So really what Dr. Young had asked me to do is provide you an update on where we stand at your first board retreat in January when the departments met with you. I talked about the possibility of a one-to-one integration within the classroom. And so really when we're looking at this, and we've discussed several different variations of it, the direct alignment to our strategic plan, a learner profile, I won't read through this, you're very familiar with it as well, aligns to everything that we do as a district, the different initiatives and the strategies that we hold true. So the scope of what we're looking at doing with the Chromebooks is to look at a middle school and high school level where we are at truly a one-to-one aspect. So that would mean a Chromebook would be assigned to a student. That Chromebook would go with the student to school, to home as well. The intent is really to look at making sure that the activities, whole class activities, are not impacted as we're going forward. A lot of the feedback that we did hear from students in how they use their cell phones, they use it for research purposes, they use it through the classroom for a variety of instructional purposes. So this would also give them a device to utilize during the school day. Not only for whole class activities where teachers are doing that, but also for independent work for students. And the other piece that I want to touch on, and I'll go into it a little bit further on, is really the ability to have a filtered and protected device for home use. We've done a lot of research talking with students in the superintendent's advisory group, and they even acknowledge that in most cases, students have no filtering, no content filtering on their phones and their devices at home. We've seen that when we've done some monitoring and testing of different monitoring tools at home for home use on district devices, that it's the Wild West out there. And it's an unfortunate situation. It's something I think we can do better as a district to help inform parents of the dangers and challenges with that. So really, what we're looking at doing, again, I'd mentioned that one-to-one at the middle and high school level,